So I have a homemade water softener schematic with resin beads, tea bags, plastic bottle, a strainer, and a container for all the soft water. This is what it looks like. This is all the ingredients for the first part of the water softener. You have our resin tank with strainer, which is just a bottle and its cap with holes in it. The resin bags, which this water softener resin will go into. It's got the consistency of sand. That's why I'm using tea bags. So resin goes into tea bags with resin goes inside water bottle. The water bottle will have its storage tank with the water bottle, however you want to attach it, with the resin inside. Turn on the water, have the water flow through the resin and the tea bags, you have soft water. So I'm opening the resin bag. I have a paper towel down so any beads that come out don't go directly into my carpet because I don't want to vacuum that up. So I'd highly suggest something to capture that. Essentially all I'm gonna do is open it up a little and fill up these bags. So essentially what I got here is a plastic bottle going directly into the tea bag, and I'm using a cup to hold it so I can use both hands to pour in the resin. And I'm just using the water bottle as a filter, so hopefully I don't spit. Seems like a decent bit of resin. Just gonna tie off this bag so none of it spills out. And you do have to be fairly careful because this is just a tea bag. So don't rip it, which I'm already doing. There's that. Then I'm gonna double it up. And then just triple it up, because why not? Don't make it too tight or you'll rip your bag. Now we have a tea bag full of resin, which feels really weird. Kind of cool. All the resin staying inside, even being as small as sand, which is awesome. Exactly what we wanted. Just gonna dump that right in there. Something tells me there's too much space on the sides and a lot of the water is just gonna get through. So I'm going to fill another tea bag. So I probably should have looked into this before I began, but if you have sensitive skin, you might want to consider wearing gloves if you handle the resin. It's not that the resin is particularly harmful, it's just that it has the capability of drying out your hands. For some, that might screw them up, so if that's you, you've been warned. A little late. There we have it, our second bag. Bag one has already touched water, and it seems to be doing fine. We got our second bag. Let's see what we're working with. So far I have the two resin bags in. There is a lot of space in between, but I feel like if we add one more bag of resin, then it will be pretty solid. It's not perfect, obviously. It's homemade, but it'll get the job done. So I filled this one up a little less just so I could form it more and it wouldn't get just plump full. It's kind of what I like. As you can tell, my water softener system has all the resin it needs. This is how much resin I have left. This bag was $40. You don't need $40 worth of resin. This was an 11-pound bag. And I probably used 1/1000th of it. So if you can find any that are smaller and residential, potable, food safe, feel free to get that instead. And I did spill, so I'm glad I had this towel here. And it is very important that you get food grade resin. It'll have an FDA label saying that it's okay for consumption. Right on the bag it says 100% compatible with all water softener systems and specifically designed for the treatment of potable water, beverages, and water used in the processing of food. So we're good to go. Cut it off. More space in the tank. Less of this extra stuff that's just gonna get soaked and sit there. And this last one I just did, I'm going to pat it down a little just so it's got a little bit more formability here. And we're gonna get it set up and try it out. All right, time to put our resin in our resin tank. The moment of truth.
Is it recording?
Yes, it is. I'm actually gonna put it in like this so it doesn't bunch up right away. A little better. And then the last one that can be formed slightly, I'm gonna shove it in on top. Just so I can squeeze in a little further and rest right on top like that. Oh yeah, boy. Look at that. We have a whole full resin tank. And what I was gonna do is plop it in there, but that seems a little unstable, so I'm gonna tape it, and that's it. I also had this, which looks cool because I made a radioactive symbol, kind of. I only put that in just in case, for some reason, the tea bag was able to slip out, which it clearly does not appear to be the case. So I'm just gonna leave that off. Now to tape this bad boy on eloquently. Oh, my father would be proud. He's not dead. I'm just saying that kind of as a joke. Okay. There we go. A bit more sturdy. A moment of truth, baby. I just realized that once I get the water in, I cannot get the water out without getting rid of this. So, we'll deal with that later. Let's see, baby. Homemade water softener. Turn on cold. I'm gonna do the shower function just so it goes all the way over. And what I'm trying to do is essentially get as much water touching the resin, so you can see all the resins essentially change color now, meaning it's all got some bit of water. It's draining fairly quick, but I can see the top is filling up. We're just gonna shut off and see what happens. You can hear the water going in. See it draining in? All that is soft water in there. Let's go. We're gonna keep going, because why not? This resin that we put in should the amount of resin we use should be able to soften about, what is it, 50 gallons of water. So I should be able to fill up 50 of these before I have to do anything with this, which is pretty neat. And I'll get to that in a second. Oh my God. And that right there, people, is a full tank of soft water. Full gallon of soft water. It's leaking out a little because I overfilled it. But here's the real moment of truth. Did we spill out of any of the resin tanks? Which I hope not, because then we'd have to figure something out, which I hopefully figured everything out before I did this. Just Taking the tape off. And I'm just gonna set the tank of resin in here. Well, that's about it. We're still good. No resin came out. And I don't have the cap. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, here we go. It's exploding. There's a lot of water. Oh God. We're just gonna... There we go. Pour ourselves some soft water. And I don't really know how to tell if it's soft or not, other than just hoping that science still exists. So, soft water. See that?
Does it smell any different?
No.
Does it taste any different?
Oh, it's still good. That's water.
It's water.
All right. Now to clean our resin, because this has now gone through 50 cycles, so it requires to be recharged, and that requires a brine solution. And this is the main part of the water softener that everyone knows of, is when you put the salt in your water softener, this is essentially what you're doing. So I'm using Morton salt, which is perfectly fine for this. You just need sodium. It'd be better to get the fine grains, because you want the salt dissolved in the water. You don't want it to just be pellets. So the ratio is 1 to 1.5 pounds per 1 gallon is your brine solution. Now, I don't have a gallon worth of resin to recharge, so I'm not going to be making a gallon's worth, but use that ratio and you'll be able to recharge your resin. Now, this resin actually hasn't been through 50 cycles. This is actually just the next day after I made the first video, or the first part. So essentially all you do is mix in some salt, literally table salt. This is not a placeholder. You can actually use table salt. You mix in this ratio to some water. You take your resin bag, or all three, which I'm not going to do just because no. And you let this sit for 2 to 3 hours in your brine solution, which is the salt and water. 2 to 3 hours, and then your resin should be recharged. And that's essentially it. It's pretty simple. And then you should be able to do another 50 gallons worth, or about that. And this, you can repeat this process with the same resin for 10 years. That's how long it usually goes in a regular water softener. However, you may need to replace the tea bags before then, because I'm not entirely sure how long those will last, but we'll find out soon enough. But I hope that helps you enough, because this could be useful for whatever reason you're using it for. And I'm glad you watched, and have a good day or night.